Welcome, everyone, to today's lecture, where we delve into the multiple pathways Plato presents in his dialogues, all leading toward one ultimate goal, the pursuit of the good. Today, we will explore 5 distinct philosophical starting points that Plato introduces in his works: ethics, politics, metaphysics, epistemology, and aesthetics, and examine how they converge toward the same ultimate destination, truth and knowledge. Before we embark on this exploration, I encourage you to immerse yourself in the critical dialogues we will reference: the Republic, Euthyphro, Crito, Phaedo, Theaetetus, and Symposium. Engaging directly with these texts will provide a more profound understanding of Plato's philosophical method and enrich our discussions. If you can, please read these dialogues along with secondary texts illuminating their significance, such as Plato Reimagined. This foundational knowledge will allow deeper engagement and insight throughout the lecture series. The various starting points, ethical questions of justice and virtue, political discussions of the ideal city, metaphysical explorations of the forms, epistemological inquiries into the nature of knowledge, and aesthetic reflections on beauty, all lead back to Plato's overarching pursuit of the good. The connections between these distinct philosophical realms form a cohesive whole that not only shapes the structure of his dialogues, but also defines the entire Platonic project. By reading the primary texts, you'll see firsthand how Plato invites us to reflect, question, and ultimately align ourselves with this higher pursuit. For those eager to deepen your learning experience, I recommend revisiting Plato Reimagined, a critical resource that offers commentary on nearly all of Plato's authentic works. The extensive endnotes in this volume are invaluable for uncovering additional insights and connections between the dialogues. While today's lecture will give you an overview, nothing compares to engaging directly with Plato's dialogues. I realize this requires a considerable time investment, but as with any philosophical journey, the rewards are profound. Now, let's explore these 5 distinct starting points, knowing that they are all threads woven into the same philosophical tapestry, one that ultimately leads to the form of the good. Lecture 05. 5 distinct starting points. One ultimate good day, everyone. And welcome to today's exploration of the multiple pathways Plato presents in his dialogues, all converging toward the ultimate goal, the pursuit of truth and knowledge. In today's lecture, we will explore 5 distinct starting points across several of Plato's works, each of which leads to different dimensions of philosophical inquiry, but ultimately aligns with the same destination, truth. Philosophy, according to Plato, is not about rote learning, but about anamnesis, or recollection, as he famously articulates in Meno. The soul has already encountered the truth, and through philosophical discourse, one can recall what the soul already knows, Meno 81bd. But how do we arrive at this truth? What are the different starting points within Plato's philosophical journey? Let us examine 5 distinct starting points from his dialogues: ethics, politics, metaphysics, epistemology, and aesthetics. Though these may seem like separate endeavors, they represent different aspects of the same philosophical quest. 1. The ethical starting point: living the good life. Our first starting point is ethics, particularly the question of how to live the good life. This is most clearly addressed in the Republic, where Socrates and his interlocutors discuss justice. Plato famously draws an analogy between the just individual and the just city. The dialogue begins with the ethical question posed by Cephalus in Book 1. What is justice? Republic 331c. For Cephalus, justice is about paying debts and telling the truth, but Socrates soon complicates this view, leading to a broader discussion of justice as harmony within the soul. Socrates argues that living the good life requires not only individual virtue, but also the proper structure of society. This ethical inquiry is connected to Plato's tripartite soul, as he outlines in Republic 4, 441c442d. The soul, composed of reason, spirit, and appetite, must be ordered in such a way that reason rules, aided by spirit, and appetite is kept in check. This, Plato claims, mirrors the ideal polis, where the philosopher king, guided by wisdom, rules justly over warriors and producers. Thus, the ethical starting point is rooted in the individual's alignment with the ultimate form of the good. This starting point can also be illustrated by Euthyphro. In Euthyphro 2a5c, the question of piety is introduced as Socrates challenges Euthyphro's understanding of what constitutes the pious and the impious. The ethical dilemma posed here directly mirrors the search for justice in the soul, as it forces the interlocutors to dig deeper into their assumptions. Socrates' inquiry into whether something is pious because the gods love it, or whether the gods love it because it is pious, Euthyphro 7e 9e, echoes the ethical ambiguity surrounding justice in the Republic. Similarly, in Crito 50a 51d, we see Socrates discussing the argument of the laws, where justice is not merely an individual pursuit, but is intricately tied to societal obligations. This dialogue demonstrates how Plato's ethical philosophy extends beyond the self and connects with broader political structures. In this way, ethics is not an isolated discipline, but part of a larger philosophical pursuit. Plato's focus on justice and virtue always points toward a higher understanding of the good. As he says in Republic 7, it is through dialectic that we lift the eye of the soul to grasp the form of the good, Republic 533d. This leads us to our next starting point, politics. 2. The political starting point, structuring society. While ethics deals with the individual, politics deals with the collective. For Plato, the two are inseparable. If individuals must align their souls with the good, so too must cities align their structures with justice. The political starting point, seen again in the Republic, shows Plato's vision of the philosopher king as the ideal ruler. The philosopher, unlike other political leaders, seeks knowledge of the forms, especially the form of the good, as outlined in the allegory of the cave, Republic 514a 517d. In Laws, his final dialogue, Plato also addresses the role of laws and the governance of a city. However, Laws takes a more pragmatic approach compared to the Republic, suggesting that while the philosopher king is the ideal ruler, in practice, societies must rely on laws to maintain order. Laws 624a, 626a. The role of law is fundamental in guiding those who cannot achieve perfect wisdom. Plato emphasizes that laws act as a guide for citizens, much like the role of the philosopher in an ideal society. Laws 630c, 632d. The political starting point, much like the ethical, also requires a kind of harmony, but this time, it's a harmony between citizens and the laws that govern them. In Republic 414b, 415d, Plato introduces the noble lie, a myth designed to maintain social order by instilling in citizens a belief in their predetermined role within society. While controversial, this idea reveals Plato's commitment to ensuring that the city mirrors the ordered soul, thus tying the ethical to the political. Yet, the philosophical journey is not solely about constructing ideal societies or ethical lives. It also involves an understanding of the very nature of reality, which brings us to the metaphysical starting point. 3. The metaphysical starting point, understanding reality. At the heart of Plato's philosophy is his theory of forms, which we encounter most explicitly in Phaedo and Republic. The forms, or ideas, are perfect, unchanging realities that exist beyond the physical world. According to Plato, everything in the physical world is merely a shadow or imitation of these forms. The form of the good is the highest of all forms, as described in Republic 6 in 508d, 509a. It is by contemplating these forms that we gain true knowledge. The metaphysical starting point can be found in dialogues such as Phaedo, where Socrates discusses the immortality of the soul. In Phaedo 72e, 77a, he argues that the soul, in its purest form, is able to grasp the forms directly, especially the form of beauty and the form of the good. Death, Socrates claims, is a release of the soul from the body, allowing it to engage more fully with the world of forms. Plato expands on this in Timaeus, where he offers a detailed cosmology that connects the world of the forms with the physical universe. Timaeus 27a, 29d. In this dialogue, the demiurge, a divine craftsman, shapes the physical world by using the eternal forms as a blueprint. The physical world, therefore, is a reflection of these perfect forms, just as ethical and political structures are reflections of the form of the good. This metaphysical framework underpins much of Plato's philosophy, including his epistemology, which we turn to next. Knowledge, for Plato, is not about the sensory world, but about recollecting the forms that the soul has already encountered. 4. The epistemological starting point. How we know Plato's epistemology is based on the distinction between belief, doxa, and knowledge, episteme. In the divided line analogy of Republic 6 and 509d 511e, he divides the world into two realms: the visible world, which gives us only opinion, and the intelligible world, which provides true knowledge. The journey from opinion to knowledge is a gradual ascent, moving from the shadows of the cave to the bright light of the forms. Republic 7, 514a, 517d. In Theaetetus, Plato explores the nature of knowledge even further. The dialogue opens with the question, "What is knowledge?" Theaetetus 146c. Throughout the dialogue, Plato considers various definitions of knowledge, perception, true belief, and true belief with an account, but ultimately rejects each one. He suggests that knowledge cannot be reduced to any of these categories alone, but is connected to a deeper understanding of the forms. In Theaetetus 147a, 155e, Socrates critiques the idea that knowledge is perception, showing that while perception plays a role in how we experience the world, it cannot be equated with true knowledge. This distinction is crucial for Plato, as it separates knowledge of the forms from mere sensory experience. The physical world, subject to change and decay, can only offer us beliefs, but the forms provide us with knowledge that is eternal and unchanging. This epistemological journey is directly tied to Plato's metaphysical framework. To know something, in the Platonic sense, is to understand its form. Thus, the ultimate aim of knowledge is the same as the ultimate aim of ethics and politics, to grasp the form of the good. 5. The aesthetic. Starting point, beauty and the good. Our final starting point is aesthetics, the pursuit of beauty. For Plato, beauty is not merely a sensory experience, but a reflection of a higher reality. In the Symposium, Socrates recounts Diotima's ladder of love, which begins with the love of physical beauty and ascends to the love of the form of beauty itself. Symposium 210a, 212a. This ascent mirrors the soul's journey toward the form of the good. In Phaedrus 250d, 256e, Socrates describes how beauty can inspire the soul to remember the forms. Beauty, Plato argues, is one of the few forms that can be perceived through the senses. Thus, it plays a unique role in the philosophical journey, bridging the gap between the physical and intelligible worlds. Through beauty, we are reminded of the higher realities and are drawn closer to the form of the good. Aesthetics, like ethics, politics, metaphysics, and epistemology, ultimately leads to the same end. For Plato, beauty and the good are closely connected. In Phaedo 100c, 101d, Socrates explains that all things are good and beautiful in the same way, because they participate in the forms of beauty and the good. To pursue beauty is, in essence, to pursue the good. The ultimate goal, the form of the good. Now that we have explored these 5 starting points, we can see that each one, though distinct, converges toward the same ultimate goal, the form of the good. Whether we begin with ethics, politics, metaphysics, epistemology, or aesthetics, the philosophical journey always leads us back to the good. The form of the good, as Plato describes in Republic 6 and 7, is the source of all knowledge and truth. It is what gives meaning to all other forms, and is the ultimate object of philosophical inquiry. In Republic 7, 517b, Plato likens the form of the good to the sun, which illuminates the visible world and allows us to see. Similarly, the form of the good illuminates the intelligible world and allows us to know. Plato's dialogues present us with different starting points, but they are all threads in the same philosophical tapestry. Whether we begin with the question of how to live a good life or with the nature of reality, we are always guided toward the same truth. In conclusion, Plato's philosophy offers multiple paths: ethical, political, metaphysical, epistemological, and aesthetic, that all converge on the ultimate pursuit of truth. The form of the good is not only the foundation of all knowledge, but also the goal towards which all philosophical inquiry strives. Through dialectic and reflection, Plato invites us to ascend beyond the shadows of the cave and toward the radiant light of the good. Thank you. I look forward to our discussion on how these distinct starting points can shape your understanding of truth and knowledge in your own philosophical pursuits.